The Scottish Umpire and Cycling Mercury, November 1887. We learn that the efforts that have been lately made to organise in Glasgow a first-class Catholic football club have been consummated by the formation of Glasgow Celtic Football and Athletic Club under influential auspices. They have secured a 6-acre ground in the East End which they mean to put in fine order. We wish the Celts all success. And indeed, under the inspirational leadership of brothers Walfrid and Dorotheus, John Glass and Dr. John Conway, within a week of their founding on the 6th of November 1887 in St Mary's Hall, East Rose Street, the new club did indeed secure half a dozen acres of ground running east of Janefield Cemetery for an annual rent of £50. Within 6 months, with the indefatigable assistance of the men, women and children of Parkhead, Bridgeton, Calton and the Salt Market areas, and the parishes mainly of St Mary's, Sacred Heart and St Michael's, a stadium was complete, with a level pitch, a cycling track and rudimentary terracing. On the east side of the new ground was an open-air stand, with pavilion, dressing rooms and committee rooms beneath. By far the most popular feature of this new ground in great Celtic tradition was almost a 19th century jungle, because the most raucous and committed of the Celtic fans of that time used to line up along the wall so they would get an uninterrupted view of the action and support their favourites. The eagerly awaited debut of Brother Walfrid's Celtic came at this ground on the 28th of May 1888, when 2,000 people, resisting the competing attraction of the Britannia Music House and the White Bait Music Rooms, and indeed the Glasgow Exhibition, converged in the park by rail, cab, horse-drawn tram and of course on foot. Patrons entered by 9 turnstiles, paying 6pence at these gates, while women were admitted free, and later on soldiers in uniform were also admitted free as well. They were there to see Celtic take on their opponents, Rangers, a well-established and successful team who on this occasion, quite diplomatically, fielded a reserve 11 known as the Swifts. The first ever Celtic side, in distinctive white shirts with green collar and a Celtic cross in red in the breast, were a group of invited guest players. The jerseys, by the way, had been supplied by Penman Brothers of Bridgeton Cross, not an area that's well known for supplying anything to Celtic other supporters, but these were different days. Anyway, even 123 years on, and I think it's well worth repeating the team sheet, the players in show that day had the quality of a litany. Dolan, Pearson, McLaughlin, listed then of Govan Whitefield, Maley, Kelly, Murray, McCallum, Tom Maley, Madden, Dunbar and Gorvin. Defender James McLaughlin had joined his local team Cowlair Juniors as a 16-year-old centre forward in 1880. By the age of 18 he had converted to a half-back, and then he joined the senior ranks as a full-back. His leadership qualities made him captain material, and he also became involved in the business and administrative side of the Cowlairs Club. In 1887, his performances attracted the attentions of Edinburgh's Irish team, Hibernian, where he played for 1 season before making his illustrious and unique debut for the fledgling Celts against Rangers. Among his teammates in that Monday evening were men destined to become true Celtic legends. James Kelly, a versatile, athletic, attacking centre-half, a champion high jumper and long jumper, generally accepted as the outstanding player of the era in Scotland. The first Celtic player to captain Scotland, a future director of the club, and the father of the late, great Sir Robert Kelly. His importance to the success of the new club was emphasised by one contemporary commentator who said, "No Kelly, no Celtic." Willie Maley began in that evening a 52-year association with the club as player, match secretary and manager. And I was discussing with Bill before we started today's proceedings his deep friendship with Maley. Maley and James McLaughlin were lifelong friends, and that persisted right up until the time of James's death. 20 league championships, 17 Scottish Cups, the Empire Exhibition Trophy, innumerable charity cups and Glasgow Cups would suggest that Maley, along with Steen, is undoubtedly the greatest influence on the history of Celtic Football Club. At centre forward was Johnny Madden, famous indirectly because the first lighting system at Celtic Park was called Madden's Shipyard because of the cables and wires and lights that were strung above the park. And John, they wouldn't have suited you because those big high kicks that you put out used to get stuck. And Charlie Gallagher might have had to shin up there to get the ball down. So thankfully they didn't have that. Madden was known as the master of the feint, the back heel, the turn, the sprint. A football visionary, he enjoyed an international reputation as a coach and was destined to find enduring fame as the father of Czech football. What of the game itself? The game was described as fast and friendly, and the club's first ever goal came from Neil McCallum, then an effort from James Kelly, and finally a hat-trick by Tom Maley secured a memorable 5-2 victory. After the game, around 70 gentlemen, including both teams, adjourned to St Mary's Hall for an evening supper and sing-song accompanied by John H. McLaughlin, Celtic committee member and sometimes organist for St Mary's Carlton. In contrast to today's old firm repertoire, the renditions were the popular Irish and Scottish songs of the day, including perhaps the hits of the day, The Lost Chord, Love's Own Sweet Song and Silver Threads among the gold. The players, of course, were all strictly amateur, but the unofficial match fee was probably in the region of 30 shillings. And when you contrast this with the wages of a labourer in these times, who worked a 51-hour week for 22 shillings. James McLaughlin's place in the Celtic narrative continued with another 3 matches in that first season. And in season 1889-90, he retained the Celtic goalkeeping spot and enjoyed the distinction of playing in the first trophy-winning Celtic team on the 11th of May 1889, when the Glasgow North Eastern Cup was secured, when his old team, Cowlairs, were defeated by 6-1. He also appeared in prestige friendlies against teams who styled themselves the champions of the world, the Great Northern Giants, Preston North End and Blackburn Rovers, and finally, sadly, he left the club in April 1890. After his retirement, he became a referee, and as you've heard earlier, he became the refereeing representative for Celtic. He was a highly respected man in the refereeing profession. Even people who are not naturally pro-Celtic respected him. They respected his fairness, his even-handedness, his unquestioned integrity. And in fact, one overly effusive tabloid of the day dubbed him a prince among referees. James McLaughlin and that first iconic Celtic team have a unique and enduring place at the very heart of Celtic history and tradition. They seem to have played in a distinctive Celtic way, fast, attractive, entertaining football, and most importantly, they beat the Rangers. They were privileged to be the first playing representatives of one of the most romantic and honourable clubs in the game, with a worldwide fame and following. The team of the poor children's dinner table, the team of the lonely immigrant, of the unemployed, of the depression, of the homeless, of the starving, the victims of addiction, of drought, of famine, the refugee of the present day. We honour the memory of James McLaughlin and his teammates today. They were the first favourites and heroes in the hearts of those who follow Celtic. Simply, they were the first grand old team to play for and support. Thank you.